Okay, we're ready to get started.
Hello.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular meeting today, November the 22nd, 2021. Let the record show that all board members are present. And I'm calling this meeting to order. Our focus areas are safety and health of students and staff, remain fiscally solvent, attendance of at least 94%, social emotional well-being of all students and staff, post-secondary readiness, proficiency in all academic areas, and an ACT of at least 19.5. Let me remind anyone who wants to speak that we have a clipboard on the table in front of me, and please sign in all information so you can be contacted if you want an answer to a question or comment. Okay, at this time we have Floyd Central's color guard that are going to present the colors. And please stand. Okay, we have representatives from Mr. Wallen and Miss Napier's class. Would you please come forward to say the pledge for us?
Y'all ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And at this time we have Briley Pennington, who is going to sing the National Anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I want to thank Floyd Central for bringing all their students here tonight to help us out with their board meeting. We're so glad when we can have the students in-house with us. So thanks again, Greta, and your teachers, and everybody that came tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. At this moment, we're going to have a time for individual silent reflection as to why we were here, and I think we just had a good example of that. Okay, thank you. The next thing is the adoption of the agenda, and I believe Superintendent Shepherd has a change or an addition.
Yes, I would like to add an item in, considering entering a contract agreement with Fun Flicks Outdoor Movies to provide a showing of the Polar Express here at the district office on December 15th. And you have that in front of you on the table.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're moving on to the spotlight on, well, we need to adopt the agenda. So can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
All right, Junior made the motion. Do I have a second? Steve seconded. All those in favor signify by raising your hands. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Spotlight on student, staff, community achievement, and report on student work by Floyd Central High School principal and SBDM council. And Pam's going first. Okay.
Yes, I'm going first because I know you all really are excited to hear from a school again. And some of you, I guess it'll be the first time that they've got to hear from a school. So I think you'll enjoy this. We had 5 recognitions tonight, and I just want to quickly mention this because they weren't able to come from different reasons. But Kim Rowe has the Total Pharmacy Care in Prestonsburg, and she donated, I think it was around $3,000, and bought the chairs on the bench there for Prestonsburg High School. And we've been trying to get her here, and it is just, with her place of business, it just doesn't work out too well. But we really want to thank her for her support of the students at Prestonsburg, and I know with other schools too that she has helped out in the past. So we just want to say thank you, Kim. Tonight we're going to start with a team that we have recognized before, because I believe they have won this at least one other time. This is our 15th region champion volleyball team from Floyd Central High School and Coach Brittany Reels.
Come on up.
And next up, we have another team of young ladies, and they won this last weekend. And I believe this is the first time in school history, so we're extremely proud of this hardworking team. We have tonight the Bluegrass Regional Champs in Small Game Day Division. That is the Betsy Lane High School cheerleaders and Coach Nina Hamilton. And while they're lining up, I have to tell this story. I was at an event that Saturday, and Miss Pat Hackworth was there, the assistant principal at Betsy Lane High School, and somebody on this team FaceTimed her, and she was just so thrilled that they did that, but they were excited that they had won. And Miss Hackworth was very proud to hear that you all had won too, and she made sure everybody knew. There we go. That's the agenda.
I love having students to be recognized here for everyone to see. Thank you all so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's an honor and pleasure to be back presenting in front of our board again. As you all know, I'm Greta Thornsberry from Floyd Central High School. With me this evening, to my right, I have Sean Hager, Dean of Students. To my left, Cynthia Turner, Assistant Principal. And these are, can you hear me? This is our administrative team. It takes all of us to be able to accomplish the things that we accomplish at Floyd Central. But before I go any further, I would like to say how proud I am of our students, and I'd like for everyone to show our appreciation for our students for coming out tonight and also being recognized. In addition, tonight I have our site-based council, Mr. Jody Hall, Don Burke, Ricky Wells are our teacher representatives. Our parent representatives are Jody Terry and Jamie Martin. I appreciate this council and thank them for the service that they provide to our school and most of all to our students. We would not be here tonight, of course, without our students, but we have a team full of individuals who make things happen at Floyd Central, and none of this would be possible without them. At this time, I'd like for our Floyd Central team to please stand. I appreciate each of them being here this evening as well. And as we all know, the past 15, 16 months have been months that we've never had to experience before in education. And I will say that the team that is here tonight has gone above and beyond. They've been relentless, working through every opportunity that we have to do what is best for our students. And as a result of the past 16 months, our team has grown. And one of the most important things that we've realized is that relationships are key in everything. I'm starting this evening's presentation with a quote. Most people end their presentation with a quote, but this is a quote that I think describes our team. The real winners in life are the people who look at every situation with an expectation that they can make it work or make it better. That is Floyd Central's team. Again, I cannot say enough about our team for the way that they have been resilient, they have been flexible, to do everything that's necessary for our kids. Each day, we have 5 focus areas in our building, not only for our staff members, but also for our students. Those 5 focus areas are positivity, relationships, high expectations, accountability, and attitude of gratitude. And that may be a new phrase that you have seen, but this comes from our 7 Mindsets curriculum, of one of the key component areas in that curriculum that our district adopted district-wide. And the attitude of gratitude, this helps everyone in our building stay positive by appreciating what we already have and what is already working in our lives, because that is very, very important. Many people have said our students lost a year. They didn't lose a year. It was different type of teaching that we had to present to our students. But as a result of this, we found out that there were some gaps, obviously, from where we should be at this point when we were fortunate enough to come back to in-person learning. What are some strategies that we are doing to close gaps? First of all, one non-negotiable that we have in our building for our team members is that we start each day and we present ourselves each day with a sense of urgency and intentionality in everything that we do. Our summer school this past summer was undescribable, really. We had 75 students who attended Summer 1 and Summer 2 sessions. Very positive experience, not only for our students, but also for our staff members. We are providing extended school services after school. We offer that Monday through Thursday from 3:15 until 5:15 each day. We have anywhere from 1 student to 25 students who attend on any given day. This schedule is very flexible, very transitional. Students come and go as they need, depending on the content area that they need assistance with. We utilize our Gear Up staff in our building to work with students in small groups. We have 4 Gear Up members in our building. We have, to address the MTSS, it's built into our schedule this year. We have Reading Revisited and a math intervention class. This is an elective course, however, the students are placed in those courses based on need. We are still participating in the Striving Readers Grant, and we are also utilizing the SEL, the 7 Mindsets curriculum, again, that the district purchased. Now, having mentioned that, and speaking about SEL, I've been in education a very long time. I'm proud to say I've been in Floyd County for 29 years. This year, I must say, is one of the most exciting starts or beginning of school years that I've experienced in a long time. Over the summer, one of the students asked a profound question that actually set me back as an educator. The question was, why can't every day be like this? I was speechless. So immediately, I went to my team and I said, this question was presented to me. Now I'm presenting it to you. Why can't every day be like this? Why can't school be a place that students are excited to come? They feel loved, welcomed, they want to be there. So our team started developing and getting together and we worked on and developed the house system. And our house system, as you can see on the screen, are the pictures. Every staff member in our building, every student in our building is assigned to a house. Why did we do the house system? We focused on the house system to build relationships, foster creativity, build community and school pride, and ensure that every student in our building has an opportunity to participate in something which provides them with a sense of belonging. Not every student in our building is an athlete. Not every student is on an academic team. But there is something for every student. So that came our house system, developed from that. Tomorrow we're having our house battle. If any of you would like to come by tomorrow afternoon and to kind of see what that looks like and how it works. But this is not only students earn points for just different things, participation in activities, but we are tying in attendance, assessment results, different things like that to award each house those points for that. Some of the things that we have to celebrate, our Veterans Day program last week. This is always a special program to our Floyd Central community, but this program was organized by our student council. So many positive comments, and again, it was great to be able to invite and have veterans in our building in person. And our students are just absolutely amazing as far as the organization, as far as the talent that they presented. It's just a very special program, and we're so thankful for our student council organizing that. But our community, we have received many positive comments about our students, how well behaved and how respectful they were during that program. It's just a great tribute to our veterans. This last week, we were part of the Principal for a Day, and it was an honor to welcome Jerry Fultz and Ashley Tackett Lafferty in our building, as well. Mrs. Shepherd was able to join us on Friday. It was just a great time, and to hear perspectives from Mr. Fultz. He, of course, was a 30-year retired person from our district, and he was excited to see how education has changed over the years from when he was there. And, of course, Miss Ashley Tackett Lafferty was there, and it was great for her to be able to see everything that goes on in our building. Something else that we are involved in at Floyd Central, we are one of 60 schools selected across the state to participate in the Family Friendly Schools Learning Network. This is a project that we were nominated because due to our commitment to improving family engagement, the focus is on implementing more effective family engagement best practices. We have developed a council from that. We are involved in trainings, surveys, everything that we can do to get our families more involved with our students in our school. Because we have found out the more involvement that we have, the more success we have with our students. Our academic team, we're off and running this year. We are participating in ECAC, in the JV Challenge. We have 2 students placed in math, 1 student placed in language arts, 2 students placed in composition. Another program we have at Floyd Central is the JAG Academy, Jobs for America's Graduates. And this academy prepares our students for life after high school. They have already completed so many community service projects. Just a few of those are Adopt an Angel, Thanksgiving Meal Outreach, Dumas Rescue Christmas Project, and the homemade birthday cards for the sick and elderly. Our Narrative 4 program continues to thrive at Floyd Central. Just last week, those students had a Zoom meeting with a New York best-selling author, Colin McCann, and we will be ready to start the field exchange with students from the Bronx after we return from Thanksgiving. Our schedule this year has allowed us to offer a creative writing class for our students. We've had students participate in the Christmas Through the Eyes of a Child program. JAGcast. This is student created through our media arts programs pathway that we have at Floyd Central. They present a new episode every 2 weeks. This group actually went on a field trip today to WYMT, and you will be seeing this on the next to the last slide as they highlight some of our athletic teams, but it is their work, so you'll get to see them in action. Our band, we're very proud of our band. We know that our band adds so much spirit to our ball games, and we're excited to have them get ready to start performing next week. But they are also preparing to perform in the Christmas parade in Prestonsburg on December the 4th. This year we have a newsletter for the first time. It is called Keeping Up with the Jags. This is a monthly publication by our students at Floyd Central. Our students have the opportunity to participate in the National Honor Society, Beta Club, STLP. This year we are so thankful to welcome back our performing arts classes to our students, and they will be presenting their performance on December the 9th at 7 o'clock along with our band. So mark your calendars for that. Our band and drama performance will be December the 9th at 7 o'clock. We also have a Youth Service Center Student Council. This is the only one that we have in our district at this time. And again, this council is participating in many community activities, service projects, and in the video on the next to the last slide, you will see some of the things that they have been working on at this point. JROTC, you got to see this yourself in action. Cannot say enough about this program and how proud we are of this program. This is the first year since Floyd Central has been in existence that we've had 2 instructors. We've always had 2 positions available, but we've never had any applications until this, actually it was last year. So we do have 2 instructors in our JROTC program. They participate, you'll see them at our ball games, presenting colors, assisting with parking detail. Just most recently, they participated in the Jenny Wiley Parade in Prestonsburg, and they also participated in the dedication of the Willard Kinzer Cemetery in Allen last week. We are also very fortunate to have 2 employment specialists in our building, these that are provided by the district, of course, and these ladies help prepare students to be employable after they leave high school. Athletic celebrations. We'll go ahead and we will start the video, and again, this does not contain all of our athletics programs, but this is the work from our students in our JAGcast.
Welcome in to episode 2 of this year's JAGcast on SCTV. I'm Jada Johnson.
And I'm Jayla Little. This week we have many updates for you involving sports.
A big congratulations to the Floyd Central Volleyball team for winning the 15th Region Championship, beating Paintsville 3-0 last Thursday. The volleyball team played this past Monday in the first round of the state tournament, losing to Boyd County 3-0. The Lady Jags finished the season with 24 wins and 7 losses.
Coach Brittany Reels was named 15th Region Coach of the Year for leading the team to an impressive season in her first year, which included a 2A state runner-up finish, district championship, and region championship.
Speaking of volleyball, this week's star athlete is volleyball senior Amelia Wallace. She was named 15th Region Player of the Year, as well as 58th District Player of the Year and District Tournament MVP. And earlier this week was named Honorable Mention in All-State by the KVCA.
For the season, Max Martin was the team's leading passer. Blake Adams led the team in rushing, Brody Buck had the most receiving yards, and Jacob Johnson led the defense with the most tackles. This past weekend, our Floyd Central cheer team competed at UCA Bluegrass competition, receiving a bid to nationals.
Q-Life is a human understanding and engagement consulting firm, and spent time with the Youth Service Center Council to discuss the importance, identifying, and working to resolve issues in and around the community.
The Youth Service Center Council also held a duffel bag drive. Representatives from Kentucky State Police, Floyd County Sheriff's Office, Prestonsburg City Police, as well as Kentucky Department of Health and Family Services.
Alice Floyd College and Jimmy Cannon helped donate more than 120 duffel bags to be used by children entering out of home care. American Legion Post 238 also donated $500 to help the cause. On Tuesday, October 26th, the Floyd Central Youth Service Center Council presented a donation of almost 4,000 pounds of pet food to Thompson Tales, Dumas Rescue, and the Floyd County Animal Shelter.
That's a small sampling of what our JAGcast students do. They come out with a new publication or new episode every 2 weeks. In addition to the athletic programs that were mentioned on the JAGcast, we have golf. Our golf placed second in the district this year, and we had 3 members who qualified for 2A state competition. Our girls and boys basketball programs they've already completed their scrimmages, off to a great start. We are hosting a panorama on Wednesday of this week. Their first game starting at 1 o'clock, and our regular season games begin next week. We have archery. Archery has begun practice. We have a competition on December the 3rd, a tournament at Prestonsburg High School. So we're anxious to see our archers have the chance to showcase their talents. We also offer esports, robotics. You will see a dance team on the floor this year. That was missing from last year, but you will see the return of a Floyd Central dance team. Of course, we have baseball, softball, and one thing that I want to add to the cheer, they ran competition on Saturday in Breathitt County, KHSA, a regional competition, and from that, they will be going to state competition on December 10th and 11th. So we're very proud of our cheerleading as well. Just an update on a few other sports that have received some interest at Floyd Central. Before we came over here to this board meeting, we had a sign-up meeting at Floyd Central to determine interest for wrestling, track, and soccer, because those were the 3 sports based on the interest survey that was completed by our students. Those were the 3 sports that received enough interest to move it to the next level, which that was tonight's sign-ups. I'm pleased to say that we do have enough sign-ups for wrestling, track. Overwhelmingly, I think there's about 60 students who showed up tonight to sign up for track, and girls soccer at this point. So our next step in this process, because it is a process, our next step will be to call another meeting, and if we still have the required numbers showing an interest that attend with their parent and guardian, we will be able to continue on with those sports at Floyd Central this year, additional sports. For those of you who have been in our district for several years, you may say that this presentation was different from what we've had before because you missed you didn't see the test scores and results from that. I'm sure that will come in the spring, after we do have our testing in the spring. But I can give a little bit of information about our first benchmark test that we had with CERT. With our CERT scores, we're not where we want to be, but we are very confident that we will get where we need to be and continue for every child in our building to show growth. And we will be doing that by some of these strategies that I shared earlier with closing gaps. We've also implemented a CERT Friday. That's where we focus on just the CERT scores, and that includes individual goal setting for the students as well as the teachers and classrooms and schools. With that, again, I'd like to say it's an honor to be back presenting in front of the board. I'm very thankful to be able to be here in person and to do this and to share the great things. We do have many great things going on at Floyd Central, and this was just kind of just wanted to give you an overview of what opportunities that we do have for our students, because that has been something that we have focused on this year. What can we do? What do we need to offer to give all of our students in the building a chance to feel like that they have a sense of belonging? Again, this would not be possible without these 2 people sitting beside me, our site-based council, the group back in the stands, and without our students, first of all, because that's their business. They are our why we do what we do every day, and our community with that. We will go in and we will continue to go in each day, focusing on positivity, relationships, high expectations, accountability, and an attitude of gratitude. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Mrs. Thornsberry, your administrative team, your site-based council, your staff, students, and the families that have joined us from Floyd Central High School. Great job.
Thanks.
Our next item is the community comments, and we have Greta Gilbert signed up.
Greta Gilbert, come on up.
I'll give them a moment to. All right. Good evening, board members and Ms. Shepherd, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. FCEA met last Thursday via Zoom. We've been meeting on Zoom for a while, but we're getting ready to meet in person. We had members from several schools. We had South Floyd, Prestonburg Elementary, Adams Middle School, and Duff Allen Central Elementary represented. Hope to have more schools at our next meeting, which we plan to have food, so that'll help. I do know that our teachers and our school staff, they're working harder than ever. We're still living in a pandemic, and we're feeling the effects of that. You know, we are trying so hard, but we are thankful for the kids that we get to teach, nurture, and love through our job. I'm thankful for wonderful coworkers that will do anything to help each other, whether it's at my school, across the district. I know Ms. Shepherd was at our all-county chorus that we had just a few weeks ago, and that was a collaborative effort with everybody. So I'm really thankful this time of year especially for my coworkers and all of our employees in Floyd County. I'm also thankful for our leaders and our board members, and I know that you have tough decisions to make, but I think that you consider all decisions carefully before they're made, and I appreciate you. So I have an exciting announcement. Try to share something fun and exciting every time I come up here. So last spring we had a membership drive. KEA had a membership drive, and if you were never joined KEA before, you could join KEA and not pay any dues until September. And so a few weeks ago we had a drawing, or KEA had a drawing, and they drew a name from each district, and there's 15 districts. Is that right, Missy? So there's 15 districts in the whole state, and for EKEA, the winner is here from Floyd County. One of our cooks at Betsy Lane High School, Trinity Spradlin, she won $250 from KEA, and her recruiter, which was Patricia Hackworth, assistant principal, also won $250. So that was really exciting. Last thing I want to mention is that we had to change our date for the December meeting because of other activities happening. So it's going to be December 9th at 4:30 at the KEA office, and we're going to have food. I'd like to invite everybody. We'd love to have you there. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Greta.
Thank you.
I'm going to go through these real quick to see if anybody else wanted to speak. Nobody else signed up but Greta. Do we have any students, parents, PTA, PTO, SBDM councils, classified employees, certified employees, principals, members of the Board of Education? Okay. We'll move on then to 4A, receive attendance and plans, enrollment and health aid service report. I need a motion to receive.
I'll make the motion.
Was that Steve? Who was that? Oh, Junior, okay. And do I have a second?
Second.
Keith seconded. Are there any comments, questions, or comments before we take a vote? Okay. Those in favor of receiving the report, raise your hands. Okay? The motion passes. Okay? Number 5, action or special report, student support, receive the report of the superintendent, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Shepherd.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, each month I focus on a leadership standard, and this month is Standard 1 on strategic leadership. So the first one is around vision and monitoring, and I just wanted to share that I attended the Kentucky Education Summit. It was a statewide summit focused on the future of K-12 education in the Commonwealth. We heard from some of the nation's top education reform leaders. More than 500 people from across the state attended to begin discussion about how to build a stronger education system with high standards in Kentucky. As a district team, we'll review the summit on either KET or the KDE portal and discuss next steps to inspire students and staff, support innovation, and instill high levels of learning. I hope our community will choose to also watch one of the one-hour sessions on KET. I know there was one tonight, there was one on last night, and there's one coming up on November 24th at 8 p.m. on KET Kentucky. That is an hour-long session of 2 days condensed into an hour session by our Commissioner, Jason Class. The second one is strategic planning and implementation. Our entire district and school leadership team completed 1 day of Jim Shipley training on implementing a systems approach. We will develop systems both within the district and schools to help us be more efficient, effective in fostering and sustaining student achievement. The third one is strategic planning, monitoring, and evaluation. Our district and school administrators work through the key core work processes and needs analysis in teams this month as they work to revise school and district plans. And the last one is strategic planning around resourcing. Our district team and school team held work sessions on monitoring and school improvement funds and next steps for systems development, and the second day of training with the Kentucky Department of Education team.
I need a motion to receive the superintendent's report.
I'll make a motion.
Steve made the motion, a second. Dr. Varia. Are there any questions or comments? If not, please raise your hand if you pass the motion. Okay, the motion passes. Okay, our next thing is to receive the utility report for Betsy Lane Elementary School. We have a request by Dr. Varia to table this, waiting on more information from Linda Hackworth. Could I have a motion to table?
I'll make the motion.
Junior made the motion.
Second.
Steve seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, motion passes. We will table B. Okay, C, receive the financial audit report.
Yes, most of you pretty well know who I am. I'm Artie White with White & Associates, and I appreciate the board for allowing us to do the audit. Ms. Shepherd and, of course, Tiffany Warwick's over here with the finance staff, and Angie being here also. And they do an excellent job. All their staff does. And good to see you too, Mr. Shaw. I hadn't seen you in a while. So, but we do really appreciate the opportunity, and you all did an excellent job. I know Dr. Varia had a question, not enough time to look at the audit, and I have no problem with any of the board and the questions have coming back and trying to explain some, but I'm going to point out a few of the highlights if that's okay. That way it might help you when you actually go in and start reviewing it. First of all, if you want to look at page 88, now that summarizes the entire audit. That is called a schedule of findings and question costs. And the very last, at the bottom, you'll see two items down there from a financial standpoint and a federal award standpoint. There were no findings that we found. And that's very important because if not, you would have had a corrective action plan in place. So you really did a really excellent job. So pass that along to your staff and make sure that they know that. I know Tiffany will. So that is very important that you don't have any corrective action plan. If you also notice in the back there, a management letter. There was absolutely nothing that we actually recommended to improve your internal controls. Now, I know you didn't go to school a lot this past year, but there was nothing in there. Now, the reason we put that in there, because the Department of Education asked if we don't have a condition or something that we would express improvement at the school level, they'll say, where is the management letter? So we included the management letter, even though there's nothing in there that we would like to highlight. So I do know that the school district always has had training for your schools, and you've always had a really good school performance. I go to schools that's very much smaller than your school district, and they have pages of things in those schools. So the highest risk in an audit of a school district is school activity accounts. And the reason is because they're decentralized. They're not accounted for in the MUNIS system, so Tiffany doesn't see that. Now, there's a big change this year, and I'll go through that here in just a second, but that's basically very good that what your schools did. So now next year, when they go every single day, the activities ramp up a little bit. It's nothing to relax on. They need to continue to do well all the way through this fiscal year too, because eventually this all is going to end. Some of the financial impacts and things that I want to point out to you in the audit. First of all, the climate is totally crazy this year. The amount of federal money that's flowing, not just here, but every government agency, is unbelievable. That causes a lot of issues with us as accounting people because all this is new. Anything that we do has different, anything new like the coronavirus, the money that's coming into these places has new compliance requirements and controls that protect these compliance requirements. So stuff that we haven't ever seen before, we actually have to go in and possibly test. In the Floyd County's audit this year, in the federal programs alone, you had 4 what we call major programs that we had to actually test those. So we had the Child and Nutrition Cluster, which is actually school food service, all the federal money that runs through there. So we had to special test that program. You also, and that was $5 million. And the second thing was the Coronavirus Relief Fund. That's basically a SEEK replacement money, and you still got the SEEK money. So that was $1.6 million. So we actually had to test that. Also, things that these acronyms you'll get, but the Education Stabilization Fund, the ESSER money, you all have heard that over and over again. There was $13.4 million that you expended this past year, and we had to test that. Also, too, improving teacher quality is not as big, but there's reasons that we have to test it. It was $475,000. So you can see out of that, there was quite a bit of testing that we did, and 2 of them we've never seen before because it's brand new. Of the ESSER money, $6.5 million of the Phase 2 money has still been unspent by the school district. Now I was talking to Tiffany before the meeting. You have the Phase 3 money, which I think she said about $36 million. So it's unbelievable what the type of money is. Is that correct? The money that's flowing through these school districts, and it's because of the coronavirus. So the board's got their work cut out for them. I will mention just one thing. Of the schools I audited quite a bit. I only had one school district that actually had the federal people in checking this, and they did really, really well. And I think it was less than 5,000. A lot of this is subjective. When I very first started, I had other CPA firms calling me and asking me questions about how to test this federal money. And they kept saying the word spirit of the law. What's the spirit of the grant? And, you know, because they were questioning some of the expenditures. Is that in the spirit? And that's not our job. Our job is to make sure that it's in compliance. It's an allowable cost that you can expend. So when we go through that, that's our job. Our job is not what's the spirit of the law. So you all did an excellent job on that. And it's not only new to us, it's new to them too. So the supervisors, the people in charge of that, and going to the CASBO, she just got back from CASBO, and learning different things. It's a learning experience, and it's a lot of money that's flowing through these schools. So that was a big task. So you can look at that. You'll see that in the schedule expenditures of federal awards. You look in the table of contents, you can actually see that. The other thing I wanted to mention, your general fund. Obviously, that is the fund that the board has fiscal responsibility over. And because of what I just talked about, the general fund increased 138%. It went from $5 million to $12.1 million. I'm starting to see that predominantly in all the school districts that and obviously you're all bigger school and it's jumping a little more. But all the fund balances are jumping a little bit because of the type of money that you can spend that money on. So it doesn't mean it's always going to be like that. Take advantage of it while you possibly can. So that's another thing that you actually can look at. That's on page 14 if you actually want to see that. Also, what I was just mentioning just a second ago on page 73, one of the big changes is the school activity accounts are custodial in nature. That money that's in the school activity account is for the students. That money is raised and has to be spent on the benefit of the students. It used to be reported as what we call a fiduciary, a good faith responsibility of the school district to expend that money on behalf of those students. What has happened over the accounting standards have actually changed that says who actually controls the expenditure. Well, obviously, a principal of a school can obligate that money, and he's school personnel, so he's part of the government. So they said probably is more accurate to report that as a special revenue fund. So you all have heard the special revenue where grants, state, local, and federal grants are in your special revenue fund when you hear financial reports. Now you're going to have a special revenue fund that is totally school activity accounts. Now one big difference is you don't maintain the school activity accounting in Munis, you just have to report it within that. So they're still doing it decentralized at the school, and they take those reports at the end of the year and actually put it in. So when you look at the report from last year compared to this year, you may have a question, why does this say something different? You'll still see the same schedules, but it's just reported a little bit different. We don't have a fiduciary fund anymore. So it's part of a special revenue. So you'll see that on page 73 if you want to make a note of that. You also this past year refunded your 2008 bonds, and your net present value savings was $83,000. And that's always good. And that's something you don't necessarily have to enact yourself. Usually the securities people that do that for a living, they're looking at every single bond, looking at the market. Anything with a 5% savings, the Department of Education will allow a refunding. Of course, you all have to approve it, and it's your debt. But the savings has to be at least 5%, which that was, so you retired. I think it was $1.12 million that you issued in bonds. So it's just basically a refunding. And you'll also see that on page 14 if you can actually look at the other financing sources. You'll see that money coming out. And also in the notes of the financial statements will also describe it. You also continued in your construction projects on your energy savings projects. I was here a couple years ago when they were presenting that. You spent this current year $4.6 million. The total project costs now are at $6 million for those projects. You Betcha Lane High School baseball field, you spent this past year $1.7 million, and your project to date is over $2 million. Those projects are probably about closed and ready to be capitalized, but we wait till its entirety is closed, and then the next fiscal year started off July 1 and start depreciating those assets. Always remember, your very first two statements in your audit report are called government-wide financial statements. They're the statement of net position, statement of activities. Those two forms are basically on an accrual system, which means that those statements try to relate a government fund into a private sector type financial statement. So you look at that very first two statements, it's totally accrual. So anything that's a private sector business, such as myself, you'll see capital assets, you'll see the debt reported differently. So it's basically from a standpoint of a board and government fund accounting, everything's revenue, everything's expenditure. So if you sell a bond, obviously that's a revenue. It's going to be another financing source because it's easier to budget that way. And usually boards are made up of the public, and they're not supposed to be accounting gurus at it. So that's how the accounting standards views it. They put those two statements, not necessarily for the board, but for readers of the financial statements when they're making decisions, such as bonded indebtedness and how they rate that. And so that's the reason it's in there. And the State Auditor of Public Accounts, which is part of the State Audit Committee, anytime accounting standards change, they adopt that for school districts to do. So that's the reason those are in there. So you won't use those two statements that much. So once you get past those two statements, you'll be familiar with the rest of it. On the only thing that I will alert you, when you're looking through your audit, you'll see some statements, like on page 14, you'll see some of the, like a debt service fund and a special revenue fund, general fund, but you won't see the others. They're back in the back because they're non-major in nature, so they're all in there. Just look at the table of contents and you'll see all the funds that the district controls. So that will help you once you review the audit report and go through it, and it might help you kind of identify some of the things that's happened this past year. And but overall, from a standpoint, our job, the Board of Education hires us because your job is to make sure the policy procedures you all adopt, that the management, Ms. Shepherd and her staff, are fulfilling those responsibilities, as well as the grants that you approve, that they are complying with what you all have agreed by taking that money from state, federal money, and also the state policies and procedures such as schools and whatnot, that they're complying with that. And I report back to you as governance, and you'll see a loose leaf piece of paper in there, and that's just a reporting requirement that we have. There's no issues in there that would I should bring to your attention, just standard stuff that we're required to report to the board. But overall, an excellent job from an audit standpoint. They do a really good job. They've always have. School districts predominantly are very, very good. So that's the reason I've been doing them since '94. And your all's district, especially in the school activity standpoint, has always improved. And that's really good because nobody wants anything happening within the schools. We all, in a small community, you know everybody. So it's good to have good controls in place. So excellent job. Do you all have any immediate questions? I know you're going to gather some over the time period in the next couple of weeks.
Are there any questions tonight? I guess we're going to wait and read it and look at it, and we'll ask questions later. And we appreciate you staying tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White.
Okay.
And Tiffany, thank you and your team. Okay, I need a motion to table 4C then. I mean 5C. That's we're going to table the audit until next time. I'll make that motion. Okay. Keith made the motion. Do I have a second? Dr. Varia made the second. All those in favor, raise your hands. Okay, the motion passes. Okay, our next thing is D, consider approved contract with Ross Tarrant Architects for the bus garage re-roof pending KDE approval. Do I have a motion? Dr. Varian made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Junior seconded. Any comments or questions? Okay, those in favor? Show by raise of hands. Okay. Steve, did you raise your hand? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, let's look at the action by consent. I think Dr. Varia had some questions about Was it D, E, and G? And I think she just wanted somebody to explain a little bit better on that. So can we look at those? D.
Cassandra, do you want to come on down for D?
I don't have the addendum. I don't have the addendum. I have no idea what you're doing.
I didn't hear what you said.
I don't have the addendum.
Got it on the phone?
Yeah, I'll see if I can pull it up on the app.
Okay, so you're asking questions about Otis,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Okay. And I asked him to try to send me some simplified because the program's not very simplified, so I'll try to explain it to you. We are looking, and have been, or I have been, the whole year, to look for a centralized place that we could have all the data that we have for teachers and students, and a way to compile. We have a lot of data from multiple sources. And we were looking for a way that we could compile that. And we want to make it easier for teachers instead of having to flip from program to program, notebook to notebook, and look up individual students. We wanted to be able to give them one place where everything is compiled and they could select and go straight to it. So I've listened to presentations from several companies and have brought two before the full instructional staff to have them review, especially the tech staff, because I want to make sure that it will do what it says it does. And so Mike Bell and Bobby Akers and Denise sat in along with the full instructional team, and they were very impressed. So what this program will do is it will take all of our scores from our benchmark assessments, MAP, CERT, all of the scores from state assessments, K-Prep, ACTs, CTE, everything that's in IC, attendance, behavior, SEL stuff on a student, and put it into one record. So if we want to pull up, and it'll be available to families as well. So if the teacher wants to pull up one student, all of that, they can select everything that they need in one place and get one report on that kid. It will do individualized, it will do class, school, at the district level. We can look school by school, grade level by grade level, subject by subject, for anything. It also has a learning management system that's part of it, which will, the students, and it has a test bank where the district can get teachers together and develop our own common assessments if we so choose. But there's nothing that we want to put on the school right now. The first 6 months it'll be at the district level only, and everything that we give the school we will work here. We don't want to add anything else to the teachers or the principal's plates at school level. Just want them to be able to teach. So my goal for this program was to give the teachers and the schools as much data in one report as possible so they can spend less time analyzing and looking at it and more time seeing what they need to do and adjusting their instruction to the kids. To the student?
How's Otis going to be applied?
I am the student, you the teacher. How are you going to apply me, Otis, and how my parent will know about that?
Okay, your students will have access to the program. They'll have an individualized login, and the parents will be able to will have that as well. So they can pull up all this data on their own student and review it at any time.
We never did before in the past, at the beginning.
They can go to IC and look at grades. They could go to IC and look at attendance, but they never really could see like test scores and things like that unless we send paper reports home. So this would have everything about their kid compiled in one spot, and that they could track it. It will do their grade reports. It'll show their grade reports, everything. Anything that's in IC, it will compile it along with everything else. And like I said, you know, I'm not a technology whiz, but the tech staff was very impressed with it. So,
Any other school our area doing the OTAS? Any in our Eastern Kentucky?
we talked to two different districts, yeah, Marshall County, and I can't remember the other one. I can't remember, but they had nothing but positive things to say. Very, very bragged on it a whole lot. Said it was a game changer for them and their staff.
So it's something new.
Yes. And they tailor-made it direct. They will tailor-make the program directly for our district.
When you say game changer, what do you mean? I'm saying, me as a parent, and let's say I'm computer illiterate. I'm not going to get on your program. Tell me how it's going to be a game changer for me.
Well, your student is on your program, so they can pull it up and show you
What
at
if
any time.
Now, hold up a minute. I don't trust my kid. I'm being devil's advocate on this. You say it's a game changer. How's it going to change the game?
Well, it's going to change the game for the staff, the teachers, and the
How?
students to be able to pull anything that they need to specialize their instruction for your student.
Okay, just give me an example. I'm not trying to pin you down. I'm just saying, give me an example. English, for example.
Reading and writing? Reading and writing. Reading and writing.
Any subject.
Okay.
It really doesn't matter. When you say the word game changer, I want to know how it's going to change it.
Right now, we have K-Prep assessments, ACT assessments, benchmark assessments from 2 different companies, and every time they get a report, they have to pull that individually. The teacher spends time on their own before they come with PLCs to pull data from all those sources about their classrooms and their kids.
Okay.
Okay? That time will be saved because those reports will be able to be given to them. Okay, so they take those reports and they'll be able to look at any particular students or the students as a whole group to plan their instruction so that it's more individualized to make better instructional decisions so that we can move our kids more.
All right, that part I understand, and that is a game changer. How's it going to be a game changer for a parent?
I think that if you're a parent and you're interested in your kid and you're following all along IC, you're going to be able to see everything. Think of it as a cumulative folder for a kid that they track, that'll track with them over time. So anything from shot records to, I mean, anything that we can pull up reports on and the parents will be able to see on their kid. Their grades, their test scores, their attendance, behavior, data, anything that's in IC.
And all the things that are shared at open house when parents come in to meet
Yes.
with teachers. And a lot of it, I think, can be led by students, probably
Which
from third
a
grade
lot of
up.
schools
A
are
lot of the
moving in
data.
that direction. And the other aspect that we didn't really look at was the common assessment aspect, where here at the district level, we do not have anything for instance, social studies. We have no type of benchmark for social studies. And we added science last year for the first time, and you know, science is one of our areas of concern. Well, this test bank has K-Prep-like questions in it. So we could, you know, the thought is get teachers from various grade levels together across the district and develop interim assessments that are common amongst all the schools, and we can push them out, or amongst all the students, we can push those tests out to the kids. And then we would have an assessment for social studies that we, based on our own pacing guides and curriculum.
So it can be used for tests you create?
Yes.
Is what you're saying?
Well, yes. The kids will have access. It's a learning management system as well.
Okay.
They use Google right now, and they'll probably continue to use Google, but we can use that platform for them to do goal setting, for them to take common assessments as well.
And if you did a social studies test, that would be added in with all the other
Yes.
tests
Yes.
that the student has done. Now, does that cover from the time they're in school on? I
Yes.
mean, you know, it's every year.
Anything, yes, anything that's, any kind of scores that are in IC are with those programs from the time that we've given them.
Is it just going to show the scores, or is it going to show what the kid missed? I mean, is it going to say he got 95%, or is it going to say, well, he was weak in?
It'll give us any kind of reports that those programs give us, and compiled in one. So if we get various, like we're testing on science, then we get reports from that one score broken down into life, earth and space, and physical. And so then we can look at each of those areas and see what they're lacking or missing. Yes.
Okay, as a parent, if my son comes home and he says, I got 85 on an exam, what do you miss? What are you weak in? Am I going to be able to look on that and see, okay, he doesn't know anything about from 1861 to 1865. Is it going to tell me that he's weak during that period?
On the benchmarks, yes, it will. If it's a teacher exam, it's according to, you will only know the, based on what the grade is entered in IC, how it's entered.
Or is it, that's what I'm saying, is it going to tell me what he's weak in, or is it going to tell me, just give me a random number?
Yes.
I mean, if he scored 43, I know that
You
he's
can
weak
drill
in
all the way,
everything.
yes, you can drill all the way down to the individual kid, and yes.
Okay.
It will
That's
show
what,
your
that's
weaknesses.
what I wanted to know.
So when you do analysis for the test, I mean, for the student, you'll have all that information each year to analyze, like Keith was talking, what they were weak in and what needs to be remediated or whatever.
And you know, when a kid moves from 5th to 6th grade, like Prestonsburg to Adams, then they rely on those two schools will have to share data amongst. They have to take the data to them. Well, they won't have to anymore. That data will follow that student.
It'll travel with the student. Okay.
So all this information, even from preschool all the way through the 12th grade,
Anything that's
you
on
can
NIC.
bring the whole record up.
Yes.
Without the teacher having to go back and go through everything again.
Correct.
I like that. It makes it easier on them.
That's the goal. They've got it tough enough. Yeah.
How many, you said, roughly how many districts are using this right now in the state?
Kentucky?
Yeah.
2.
Just 2?
Yes.
It has to be a new program then.
It's very new, yes. I think it's less than 5 years old, the whole program.
Do we have any more questions or comments?
And Mr. Harrison, who created the proposal and presented to both instructional teams, said he was willing to talk to any of you that, you know, if you want to talk to him or you want him to present to you guys for questions, he'd be willing to do that. So that's an option as well.
Do we want to do that, or are we ready to move on?
I like the idea. It's very good. I have to learn because I have no idea how good it happened.
You're like me. I was the same way. That's the reason I depend on the team behind me, too.
Thank you, Ms. Akers.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to E. Was that the one, Dr. Very, consider approve accepting the CAT's offer of assistance in the amount of $46,706? Did you have a question on that? Okay.
Denise, you want to come down on that one?
Hello.
this still on?
I like the idea of getting $46,000 for, but how are we going to use it? Money that I just.
That account is used for any of our tech purposes. We can pay for our Chromebooks through that. I have learned a lot lately about what we can pay through that. Any of our conferences that we have to attend, we're allowed to pay from that. Now, we've never done that before, but basically, Dr. Chandra, it is for tech-related expenses. We've had to upgrade some servers recently, and we used our KETS account for that. So it really just depends on what the need is. And that's something that's done statewide.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Denise. We have G, consider approve the district workplace ethics program for all students K-12. Dr. Varia, do you have a specific question for him?
Okay. I did go through the whole your agenda. It's new. Look at the page 4. The diligence for the elementary kids. Okay, here you have activities, co-curricular activities, community service, academics, goal accomplishment, part-time employment, hours, and behavior. It's a good program. I have one question. Part-time employment. It's a child labor. The
Right.
kids will be like 7, 8 years old. How can you let work? Because everywhere, third world country, when they do, we say child labor.
Right.
So how we can do in Floyd County school system the child labor?
Okay, so, well, we're not particularly doing all of those in the Floyd County school system. Those are just ones that they can choose from. So when you're talking like part-time employment or something, that's outside. And I know we have child labor laws and things like that, because first I did not add that. And then as I did more research, the reason that's in there is what we're trying to do in the long run is you're developing this program, and these are employability skills that we want kids to have when they leave high school. And so we're tying that in with a digital portfolio. So that way, if a kid goes all the way through our school, they have a digital portfolio to hand out when they go out to job seek. So that particular area there, according to the state, as I talk to them, would be something similar to like I'm volunteering, I'm doing some work at a church or something like that. I'm just helping out. It's not, I may not actually be getting paid for it. It's just something that I'm doing to volunteer. Somebody puts volunteer hours. So if you're working at it and you go all the way through, then when it gets time for like Rogers Scholars, Governor Scholars, we've got all this stuff handy. We've got our signature forms. We've got everything in place to make that process much easier for the kids.
Why don't you do, I like to add here, instead of employment, why don't you tell the kids in the morning when you drink your milk, did you place your glass empty in the sink or you left on the table?
It could be something like
Because
that.
that way you need to start here. Second thing you need to ask whether you make your bed or not, like 15, 16. When you eat, your plate you clean or not. Maybe answer employment, can you just add that? Because that's a good discipline.
Yeah, we can. And like I said, that doesn't encompass everything. That's just examples to give people things to go by so that they know. Because we didn't want to just give them something and say, hey, you got to have employability skills in a first grader. Oh, how am I going to do that? So we gave some samples. But yeah, we can add anything to it.
Yeah, why just add something like that when kids need to learn?
Right.
Because you know, when you and me grow up, when we turn 16, 17, we never take up a glass and put it in the sink. Mom does always. So kids need to learn
me, I
that.
got 4
So
kids.
maybe you can start adding here that stuff.
You need to start.
That's my opinion.
Okay. Is that it?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose.
Are there any more questions? Are there any other items that need to be
Not on this one.
pulled?
K, please.
K. Okay. We would need, that's, consider approve authorizing advertising for bids for access control system for schools' exterior building doors.
Yeah. I think I talked to you earlier, Mr. King.
Yeah.
There was one question that I didn't ask, slipped my mind. When was this first brought up for bid? Was it in September or August, September?
Yeah, I believe that's around the time.
I think it was August.
It's in the timeline there on the issue paper, but yeah.
Okay, it's came back tonight to be voted on, so that's what, August, September, 3 months?
Which we got it, we put it out for bid once, we received bids, and then, you tabled it the first time.
Which that was in August or September?
Yeah, and then we rebid it again, which we had to wait for approval. It takes about a month for the bid process to happen because we have to advertise in the paper, and we have to hold another meeting to score the bids. And then after that, then we present it to you at the board meeting. So it's a full month just to get around the whole.
Okay, but it's been approximately 3 months.
Yeah.
Well, we also had our security officer, John Greer Hunt, who resigned in the middle of that, who was leading the, you know, really and truly leading this whole process. And then we were also waiting on, we worked with Mr. Shaw on the letter to Bates. So it has been a period of time, and it's just taken that long, and I apologize for that.
No, that's fine. So it took however long to get the bid out, and I seen that it went down about $35,000. What changed to make it go down?
So, actually.
We asked that question.
Yeah. I knew that was coming. So a representative from Bates Security reached out. When we put the bid out the first time, it took about 2 weeks for them. It's all they had to get the bid in, because we advertised for 2 weeks, and then that was it. So they bid, let's see, their vendor does what's called project pricing, and it takes about a month, I think, for project pricing approval. So I guess it was always going to cost that amount. They just didn't have that. They didn't have that project pricing approval beforehand.
Well, what bothers me, I don't know if anybody in here knows, but this is what I do for a living.
We understand.
Yep.
Without a doubt, it's $150,000 too high. I don't care what kind of stuff you use. The only thing we've got to choose from is RBH. I understand that that's what's in the existing buildings. There's already access control in 85% of the schools, if not more. You push a button, it rings a bell, you can push it. The only thing that's going to be tough to do is wiring. $265,000, and I know we got a grant for what, 155, somewhere around there.
Yep.
So the other 110,000 is going to come from Esser. Is that what you're saying? So what I ran for election for the kids of this county, and everybody in here is for kids. I understand that, but I also ran for the taxpayers of Floyd County. Once again, I do this for a living. I'm not down on you guys. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. We got 2 bids, and because we got 2 bids is because RBH will not allow anybody else in this area to bid on stuff. That's not good. Trust me, I do this for a living. There's just as good as stuff out there. I've done some research on some of the stuff through my company. There's not a doubt you can do it for $100,000. I know you can.
So we received 2 bids this time?
I seen the other bid.
Yeah, the other bid was like $370,000. Yeah.
So I thought Well, I'm not going to mention any names of any companies.
And they told us that, you know, it was possible for them to become a vendor for the product.
Where are they located? Where are they centrally located? The other company that
KEDC's out of Ashland. Representative's name is Jerry Prince. And they told him when he spoke with them, he would have to go through a process to be approved for RBH access control, but he could become authorized vendor for it. They're not, you know, it's not impossible to become a vendor for RBH.
Well, you know, I know Abco is a sister or whatever to Bates. They are local. That's one good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what bothers me is we've got one choice.
I mean,
one choice.
we can't help that. But here's what I'm going to
I
say. If you don't
understand
want, if you want to table this, Mr. Sloan, we're going to need you to come in and assist us because this money expires in April.
Oh,
The $155,000 we're going to lose, and the project has to be completed by then. So
Well, I was told May.
if we're going to table it again, we need some assistance from.
No, I'm
the
not
next
saying table it. I'm just saying the kids of this county is getting ripped off. That's all I'm saying. You know.
And
I'm tired of it.
I get it. I totally get it. I am too. But I'm at my wit's end with this. I don't know how else to, I don't know how else to use the money.
I mean, the price seems fair to me. We've got two different companies proposing two different bids, and, you know, one is significantly higher than the other, but, I mean, they seem to be on par with this particular product.
But what got me at my wit's end is, I don't know what kind of system Floyd Central's got. Greta, you may know. I ain't dragging you into this, but I honestly feel that we can change everything out in Floyd County to whatever the school board's got over here or whatever, cheaper than $265,000.
Well, then we'll need your assistance to, assist us in
Now, I
doing
can't
that.
do that.
Well,
Is that day to day?
He can't do it because it'd be a conflict of interest.
Exactly.
Is
I
what he's saying.
understand, and
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what my issue is with it, and it's a real simple one. It was something that I learned when I first started working for the board, and it's about bids and the bidding process. I was told by someone at central office, and this goes back about 30 years ago. He said, Keith, I'm going to tell you who's going to get the bid on maintenance vans. And he said, it's real simple. If the board sends out a bid, or advertises it for a vehicle with a 302 engine,
There you go.
then it's going to go to a Ford dealership because you just eliminated everybody else. If it's going to have a 350 engine in it, you just eliminated all Dodges and Fords. When you advertise for a certain product, and the name of the company escapes me, or whatever it is, you limit your options.
We do, yeah, and we did that because we have.
And I think that's where Mr. Sloan's coming from.
we get it. We understand that, Keith. And here's the thing.
I'm not speaking for him, but I'm speaking for me. Anytime that you limit your options, that takes the control out of us making a decision. So I see where he's coming from, and I do agree with you.
And I want what's best for the kids of this county. Don't nobody get me wrong.
So do we. So do we.
Exactly, and I totally understand that.
And I'm not blaming anybody, but any time that you do that you say, okay, it's good. When you put a specific on it, for example, a 302, or a 350, or 316. Well, if it's a 316, then we're going to get Dodge vans. If it's a 350, we're going to get a GM product.
We're just trying to do what's most compatible with the systems we already have.
Jason, would it be possible for Bates to do $150,000 worth of work to begin with? Because we're going to lose that grant if we don't do something, and they are the lowest bid at this point.
Yep. So, I think that would be feasible. So what she's saying is we could spend the security budget and do, say, half of the schools that we were originally proposing, and then we could wait till the security budget renews next year, which, well, it's not next year, it's coming up real soon, just a few months, then we could roll out the other half. and spend just the security budget and leave the ESSER money alone altogether.
So
I
it
don't know
doesn't
that there'll be
matter,
another security
it doesn't
budget.
matter who does it, we're spending that specific amount.
Yeah, but now hold
And
up.
it's a state requirement that we have those in place, plus the window coverings. So,
Can we do that? I mean, can we get that with that?
But if it's a grant, you don't know if we're gonna get funded next year or not, right?
I don't know that that's going to be, I don't know that that's going to be renewed every year, Ms. Shepherd.
Yeah,
No.
we don't know yet if
But
we're
if
going to have
we-
the
We
opportunity
were
for
surprised that
that.
money was there anyway,
Yeah.
and we knew about that money before
But if we're
COVID
not
hit.
gonna
It
spend
is.
extra money for it, we gotta use what we have. So, I'd like to make the motion that we, spend our $150,000, go with Bates, because they are the lowest bid, and, do the work that we can do, if we're not going to use ESSER money. Because I too feel for the kids, and I want them secure in their schools.
Most definitely.
So,
You know, we're also looking at window coverings that has to be in place. So, I mean, we're going to have to spend money on that because, I mean, it's just a requirement, state requirement now in order for us to be compliant. And, you know, we have our new our safety officer in place, and we'll work with him 100%. And,
What type of window coverings?
well, they didn't specify, is the sad part.
So
So
it
it
could
could be
be-
a curtain,
Could be window
or it
tint?
could be a window clean, or, yeah, like a tent, you know. But you have to have those in place.
I think there are specifications in the plan, I don't remember exactly for each
We-
area, but for entering like gyms versus classrooms versus cafeterias, there's some criteria there.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure, but, I thought we were just deciding at one point between a curtain and a window clean.
okay, there's a motion to use the grant money we have and to go with Bates Security, and that's the total amount we spend as of right now. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Junior seconds that. Can I, with a show of hands? Okay. We have three.
Which schools are gonna get it?
That's a good question. We haven't really, we kind of just, you know, came
I
up
don't know,
with
but
this.
somebody's gotta get it or we're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
Well, this is a school safety issue, so it's got to be done.
Well, it says right here, 9 new
Yeah.
locations.
Do we have certain ones that are most urgent, Jason?
Well, it's the ones that we don't have in place.
Well, we think they're all urgent,
Yeah.
because
I mean,
in
is there-
all schools that don't have them, but we'll need to look and see what the cost of each school is, so we know if we have 155,000, that which ones to tackle first.
Yeah, what we may be able to do, instead of doing certain schools, we might be able to split up the amount of equipment we were putting in those schools, like half of the doors that we originally did, and still do all schools.
So when you're saying, when we're saying access control is basically one door. That's where you let people, parents, in, like over here. You push a button and it releases that lock. The other doors you're talking about is for card readers.
Yeah, full access, well, access
Yeah,
control
but-
could be just one door, yes,
but-
but we specified the number of doors in this project.
So you're gonna have more than one,
Yes.
Trying to eliminate the key system,
exactly,
Mr.
yeah,
Sloan.
exactly, I
Because
understand that,
of,
but
like,
what my
security
question is, on the access control is one door. So let's say you got the access control up here at the main door. So you're gonna have another one over here, if I push a button as a parent, you're gonna be able to unlock that door, or do you have to have a card reader?
No, we're putting card readers on all of the
So
access
no
control
parents or board members will have a card reader, just personnel.
No, if board members need cards, then yes, we
Well-
can do that.
What, you know, whoever Mrs. Shepherd authorizes to have those
Exactly.
keys.
Yeah.
So my son won't have a card reader.
No, he
And
wouldn't.
I won't either as a board member because I don't need one.
Right, staff members
Staff
only,
member.
yes.
So that's not access control. Access control is one door. You control it.
I can control 10 doors and who has access to them and when. So if I
No,
give you, say I hand out 100 cards to 100 people, I can limit those people to only the front door if I want. That's possible.
Okay, let's go back to the old terminology of a buzzer system, something that I know. Okay. So at South Floyd, when I worked there, we had a grant through the Center of School Safety. And they split the money between South Floyd and somewhere else. We got 9 cameras, and then we got a buzzer system. We got 1.
Right.
And everybody buzzed in through that door. So is that what you're looking at, having 1 at each individual school, or are you talking about having
No,
more than
all
1?
schools already have that.
Yeah.
But, for the sake of time, we'll definitely get you the specifications that all has to, include, so we
You've
can
got the specs.
proceed.
You've got the specs.
No, all right, what I'm saying is, if are we going to be replacing the old ones?
No, those stay.
So all we're going to do is piggyback on what, for
It's
example?
for all doors,
But
don't
it's
work
for
that
all
way,
doors.
Mr.
Chris.
Smallwood.
So
And
you
it's also
can-
to control things like, for example, tonight we had a disgruntled employee. Ms. Shepherd could authorize us to deactivate those access controls for that specific key. It serves many purposes. It's not,
Okay.
It's not just one yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay. Ms. Shepherd, can you go up here to this front door at the school and use your card to get in? At the main front door? I'd like to see that. I've never seen one. I thought you always had to push a button, your face came up, if they wanted to let you in, what's your business, et cetera. So you can take your card.
I scan it to the GM for the doors over here. For Prestonburg High School, actually mine works, Prestonburg High School, Betsy Lane High School.
But we're still just going to have 1 buzzer system at each school.
For Floyd Central.
yes, because.
I stand
So
corrected.
we're not buying buzzer system.
No,
No,
no.
Okay.
no, we're not.
So
buying-
so what you're saying is we're going to put in how many card readers?
It's approximately 8 to 9 at each location. I think one school has 4, but most of them have 8 or 9 card readers around the building. Now, we spoke with the principal to find out which doors will be best. We made sure to cover the playground exits, and in the case of reverse evacuation, they need to come back into the building quickly. Then they can go to that playground entrance door. The teacher just holds up her badge, and then the door opens for them.
And how many card readers are there at Floyd Central?
They have about 90 card readers at Floyd Central.
On practically every single
On
door.
exterior doors?
They got them on almost every exterior door, and then they got them in every single classroom as part of the Blue Code system. But that all integrates with their one access control.
But on this, it'll just be exterior on what?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll have exterior doors, yeah.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor, and we voted. Now it is 3 to 2. Do we have 2 opposed?
No, I'll vote for that.
You'll vote for it?
Yeah, I want to tell you, because I just, I have questions about what we're actually getting.
So we're not gonna add ESSER money to it at this time. We're gonna go with the total grant money. Does everybody agree
Well,
with
it needs to
that?
be completed, but if you're not positive we're gonna get the grants, then how would we go about? But we've got
at some
ESSER
point,
money.
There's gonna be some
We-
expense to the district.
But you've got, what, 2 years or better to spend the ESSER money if the grants don't come through next year? So let's say that your grant money you got this year didn't come through, then we can come back to the ESSER? Does that sound?
Well, we have planned to spend next year's security budget on cameras, but it's going to go to access if we only approve, that
Well, what
access
better
money today.
thing to spend ESSER
Exactly.
funds on than
Yeah,
security
right,
for the children?
right.
So I'd like to.
Well, since we're limited to the RGB or whatever it is, I mean, we might, I just had those questions. If I made you guys feel uncomfortable, that wasn't my,
So do you want me to rescind my motion and Okay, I'll rescind my motion.
Sorry.
And I'll make another motion then. If everybody's in agreement, I think we ought to complete the safety security system.
Because your next step is the security cameras.
Right.
This is just the first
Right.
step.
And I do think this is for the
A
security
question
of the
about the
children.
cameras. Are y'all gonna pick one specific camera, or are we gonna have,
We don't have
to be
spec-
able to
we don't
pick
have
from
specifics on that
different
yet,
vendors? I just
We'll
wanna know
definitely
up front.
include you.
So
Like
so the motion's on the floor to do the project, complete the project using ESSER money if we need it. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Steve seconds, and all those in favor, please raise your hands.
Yeah. I refuse to raise my hand, but I'll say yeah. I'm joking.
Oh. I'm gonna come over there and get you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
the motion
Thank you.
passes.
Thank you, Ms. Isaac and Mr. King.
Thank you.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you, board, for approving that.
Okay, so now we need to go through, well, we could have done that in the cover of, we really didn't have to do that, I guess. But the consent, A through N, if there's no more questions, I need a motion to pass all items.
I'll make the motion.
Steve made the motion, second by Junior. All in favor, raise your hands. Raise your hands. All in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Okay, now we have an executive session to discuss litigation, property, personnel, and expulsions, KRS 61810. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make that motion.
All right, Keith made the motion, second.
Second.
Junior, second. All in favor? Aye.
And district staff, you may be dismissed.
Thank you all.